Buenos dias, everybody. Great, great and beautiful morning. Damn, haven't had my coffee yet. Hope everyone's having a great morning. It is November. It is the 11th. Actually, it's actually the ninth month of the year. Uh, for some of y'all who didn't know, November, N-O-V is for nueve. Nueve is nine. You know, the number nine. Just in case some of y'all didn't know. November is not It's not a pagan named month like the first six of the year, I believe. Yeah. So, anyways, welcome to a great month. All right. We were talking about this first section on yoga, yogi, and all these. I can't even remember how to pronounce them, but um, just things that you can self find in our Bibles. You can self center, meditate in our Bibles. This stuff here, I mean, it's like I said, people, y'all do whatever y'all want. Okay, but me reading this kind of stuff, it's bad enough. I already, use a lot of pagan or originated words, and to have more of these words in my mouth is no bueno, no bueno. Okay, and we've been also finding out about the female serpent. I know it, and it's symbology, but it is what it is. Like I stated in the last video at the beginning about how people, they have no idea who they're invoking. You might as well just be involved in witchcraft and being a medium. I'm not condoning it, but might as well be, people. There's some terrible stuff here. All right. So, anyways, let me get a little bit of Joe. Oh, not that hot, but hot enough. Okay. Continuing here in this article on yogi. Man, y'all can tell I've had this for a while. It's already all flimsy and stuff. Okay. Continuing here in this article, we read additional confirmation on the seriousness of these dangers comes from none other than the book that yogis call their Bible. It's called the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Quote, sickness, lethargy, loss of self-confidence, mental instability, indifference, dissipation, false reasoning, false visions, disillusionment, distractions, end quote, from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, pages 45 and 46. Oh, those are the seriousness, those are the dangers. But all this we get, it even has false visions. All this diseases and sicknesses we can get through sin, which is the breaking of Yahweh's laws. Sin, according to 1 John 3:4, is the breaking or the transgression of Yahweh's laws. Romans 6:23, the wages for sin is death. Like I told y'all, our Bibles have been written to where Yahweh has inspired us for us to understand the end result of sin, which is death. It's written throughout the scriptures, and or the end result of a life of righteousness, which is obedience to his laws. Everlasting life, right? We do have sickness from eating defiled meats, not foods, defiled meats. I don't know. I don't even know what. Let's look up lethargy. I stayed up late last night playing a game on my phone, that Words with Friends. It's pretty cool. I like it. Learn some vocabulary. Lethargy is a lack of energy and enthusiasm. I guess this kind of stuff makes you feel like that. I mean, that's crazy. Oh, it's terrible. Loss of self-confidence, mental instability. Well, self-confidence and it's not the same thing as lethargy, but I think self-confidence is kind of bad because it might bring too much pride to some people. Yes, it's great to wake up in the mornings. It's 6:35. I feel great. Uh, I was in the lounge in bed for a little bit longer, but I said, no, I got to do this. I got to finish this video. I enjoy putting these things out. I look forward to it, especially since I've been off since March of this year. So my accident. And I always find something to share with the people. In some cases, the videos might be almost the same, but just to look at them from different kinds of areas. So I look forward to that in the mornings. And like I said, even though I sometimes get lazy, but I'll always have something to share with the viewers. Oh, and correction. The video on Yahweh and Yeshua's name removed from the scriptures does not have 200 likes. It's got 200 views and like 6 or 7, 8, 9 likes, something like that. And we just got one more subscriber. I got 15. Not bad, huh? I got more subscribers here than I do on my music channel. I just put up another video. I think I put it on last night. I can't remember. Me playing the guitar. All right. Continuing here. So later in that book, we are told this inner secret of the yoga objective. Yoga is the progressive elimination of consciousness in order to secure pure self-awareness. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Yoga is the progressive elimination of consciousness in order to secure pure self-awareness. Oh, man. This consciousness must be reduced to ashes, its seeds sterilized so that as to render all future consciousness impossible. We can do this through the continuing of sin, of breaking Yahweh's laws. We get confused. We get so sick mentally, physically, spiritually, that eventually we just dig ourselves our own grave, per se, literally, at the end result. But we come to the fact, if we can realize the fact, that we don't know any longer what it is doing. And there's a lot of people doing that. A lot of people are out there, and just making a point, not speaking bad of anybody, but like criminals. They're just so used to it. That's the way they were raised. That's how they know how to do. I even had a few, I was locked up with a few people that were like that. That's all they ever did. It was sell drugs since like they were like 10, 12, 13 years old. So if you don't have anybody there to guide you in Yahweh's righteousness and these righteous laws and the righteous way, you think you're doing something right, and you're not. Okay? If you go to a yogi guru for instruction in yoga, the above paragraph is what he is bound by agreements. Is what he is bound by agreements with his own guru master instructors to do to you over a course of time. The self in yoga, which is being sought, is not one's own personal identity or actual being, but rather their super soul, also called the Sanat Kumara, or the Serpent King. Ananta is the Sanskrit name for the Serpent King. I like that. Like I said, I looked this stuff up on my own, and if I come across something that might be worth you all viewing and might maybe understand, I can put it out eventually. The self is the heights of self-realization. The pupil encounters, which is you, if you're doing this, you encounter discarnate beings, spirits without bodies. Here's the thing, people. As y'all have seen, I am a big believer in my Bible. And like I stated, I may not follow a lot of the things willfully, I can always admit it to anybody. But to have people tell me that their dead ones have been coming back to visit them, I don't know. I mean, like I stated in my earlier videos and halfway through all my videos, I'm nobody to discredit what you see, what you think you've seen, or what you might have seen, or whatever. That's on you. But I believe I was reading a book from Harvest Time Books where I got this, as a matter of fact, and I don't know if it was Ellen G. White or Vance Farrell who stated that these beings could be, just demons, bad spirits, maybe the fallen angels, you know, coming to deceive you. I don't believe that. I really don't. I don't believe, like just the other day, I can't remember who I was talking to, but what I've seen as a kid throughout the years, right to the time where I got incarcerated, I've always seen what's called in Spanish bultos, just shapes and figures, shadows, whatever. I always catch them the corner of my eyes. They've gotten less and less and less. But like I told you a few videos back, I remember seeing a kid when I used to live with my sister in our apartment when I first started truck driving. Seeing this kid run the hallway into the bathroom, that was kind of creepy. And if you go into my music channel on YouTube, I'm not going to show it to you, but y'all can look at it later. It's under just Oli de Leon. Well, there's another one. I need to edit it and come up with another name for it. But anyways, I have a video here. It's called Ghost Voice Heard and Recording After Recording. Okay. And in there, at about 45 seconds, you can hear a voice say, "Hello." That was weird. That was really weird. I got that when I was working at Gate Guard when I came back from Laredo back over here to my hometown a few years back. But yeah, it's creepy, people. I mean, that stuff is real, yes, but for me to, it's probably somebody's like wandering soul, whatever. I don't know about that, but because our Bibles do say that when we die, our spirits go back to where it came from. So see, that's my music. Anyways, yeah, you can look up my other music channel. Anyways, so yeah, I really don't believe these are our dead loved ones coming back to visit us. I haven't had none of my dead loved ones come visit me yet, but like I told that person I was talking to, I just have not. I mean, I've seen what might have been UFOs, but they're not necessarily alien spaceships. You know what I mean? I've never seen Bigfoot. Don't expect to find him or to see him. The chupacabra, all that stuff. It's just, it's ridiculous. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, the self in yoga, which is being sought, is not one's own personal identity or actual being, but rather the super soul, also called the Sanat Kumara or the Serpent King. Ananta is the Sanskrit name for the Serpent King. The self, the self is the heights of self-realization. He, the pupil, encounters discarnate beings, spirit without bodies. Through the self, the yogin establishes contact with the chosen Hindu deity. The yogin makes contact with that god or goddess in the meditation experience. Now, what I've been bringing out in the videos is the prophetical events that came to pass in the times of the Exodus, right? When Yahweh gave Moshe and gave the children of Israel his laws, he told them, when you go over into the land to possess, do not ask how the people worship their gods. If you guys are a Christian or Catholic or Mormon or whatever you guys are, I don't think Mormons will be doing this, but just to make a point, if you guys are going over to inquire about these people's gods, that's a sin. That's a sin if we do that. Okay? It's just like people here in America, like us, or Mexicanos. You won't catch me celebrating St. Patrick's Day wearing green on that day. I told people, y'all see me in Tanya Pantry, I'm gonna knock the hell out of you. I will. I'll knock somebody on their feet. On their butt. It's just like Carlos Mencia said. You don't see the Irish people over there and say, "Hey, Guess what today is? Today is Cinco de Mayo. You don't see people doing that over there. Celebrate and keep the holy days of our Father, not man-made traditions, people. Remember in Romans 8, if you live according to the traditions of men, you will die, or the commandments of men, you will die. Keep, and even just for the sake of this argument, even if there was like no, I'm just saying, and hope I don't get punished for it. If there was no creator and no Bible, stick to your own cultures, people. White people, stick to your own white thing. Brothers, stick to your own brother thing. Mexicans, stick to your own Mexican thing. You know what I mean? Keep your own. I mean, I wouldn't think it'd be so bad if somebody invited you. If you're a white person, hey, dude, come on over here down to South Texas, and we're gonna have this big our yearly festival per se. We're gonna have tacos and burritos. I mean, all the Mexican food you can eat. You know what I mean? But if a lot of these Christians deem themselves so holy and so whatever, hey, stop keeping that junk. Do not look into the practicing the customs of somebody else. And like I said in the last video, at least look into it first before you jump in. Like I said, forgive me, Father. All right. A yogin is a male yogi, and the yogini is a female yogi. A yogi is one who practices yoga. It's just like being a spiritual Jew, one who practices the customs and the laws, the laws, commandments, the statutes. The customs are per se that have to do with the actual holy days, okay? That is what it is to be a spiritual Jew. It's not only for the Jews per se. When people say that, they say it's only for the tribe of Judah. It's ridiculous. There was 12 tribes, people. In Hinduism, the self is also referred to as the Brahman. In Buddhism, it is said to be Nirvana. Every thought, muscle movement, and breath you take in a yoga class or exercise is designed to bring you under the influence of some god, of some heathen god. What are we told in the Bible? Do not worship gods. But the gurus, the King James says false gods, but that's exactly what a god is. That's exactly what God and to worship gods is. It's all crap. But the gurus do not explain that to all their pupils, and they probably won't explain this to you either. If you guys are taking yoga class right now, they probably won't run this stuff by you. You're getting involved in more pagan practices if you're already practicing the pagan customs of this world. Actually, there are no real heathen gods. Yeah, there is. But they won't tell you this either. They do not exist. Yes, they do. The yogi, on whatever level he may be, is really being brought into the subjection to demonic spirits. Gods are demons. The Hindu belief is that on mastering the techniques of yoga, your spirit is no longer bound to your body, but is free to roam the other worlds guided by a spiritual entity. It is at that point that the practitioners are supposed to attain all powers, psychic abilities, and sinless perfection. Who do these guys think they are? The Virgin Mary? Oh man, I'm terrible. I know I'm terrible, people. But that is how the Catholic Church deems the Virgin Mary, was that she was a sinless person, right? It is claimed that, but that's exactly what mother worship is. Mother God worship. Lucifer is the god of this world. Y'all see how all this ties in? Go back and watch my other videos on the pagan practices and customs, and go over those videos on the two Babylons that I put up there. It is claimed that yoga positions, breathing, and meditation ultimately removes all sins, so he can escape karma and endless reincarnations. The only way to remove all sins, people, is to repent of our evil ways and start keeping the laws of our Father. Through meditation, a sinner comes out of the field of sin and becomes a virtuous man. This is from Yogi Maharishi Mahesh. It's crazy. We are told that yoga is really an initiation ritual, and rituals and cults here, to prepare the mind for gradual extirpation or destruction of the subconscious. I believe so. I mean, look at our policemen in this country. Uh, they're not trained to pay attention to you. They're own like the FBI and the CIA and the DEA. They're just trained to not listen to you, and they're only trained to accept what they might see as facts, against you. This kind of stuff. Yeah, they don't have a subconscious. They could shoot somebody, not give. They don't care. Yeah, that's the way I see it, anyways. Transmission meditation orients one toward the kingdom of souls, the spiritual hierarchy. This is from Maitreya's Mission, Volume 1, page 339. Stop and think for a minute. What happens when you are no longer in charge of your mind because you have handed it over to a heathen spirit power? This is what I just said. This is the confusion of the mind, lost in our own sins, is brought on as by us solely. We create our world, our sinful world, a world of confusion by choosing the tree of righteousness and evil. The body becomes confused, and we no longer can find the way out per se, so we just stay in sin and well deserving of death per se. But if we choose to eat from the tree of life per se, right, like Adam and Eve were supposed to, then we are the spiritual beings that our Father wants us to be, living a life of righteousness. For some of you who have still been thinking, especially you newcomers, saying that, well, nobody can keep those laws, you need to read the Bible and watch my videos. We can become perfect, because if not, then why would the Messiah tell us, be perfect like our Father is perfect? Boing! So we are no longer, like it says here, you are no longer in charge of your mind because you have handed it over to a heathen spirit. Well, if we live a life of sin, then we hand over our bodies to Satan, to Lucifer, because Lucifer is the liar, has been a liar since the very beginning, a deceiver, a sneaky serpent. Okay, but if we live a life of righteousness, then we hand over our bodies to the Messiah, through the Messiah to our Father. It says here, here's what became of two people. I personally know two individuals who are convinced that the reason they ended up in mental institutions and have had to struggle for years to recover their mental well-being was due to their involvement with yoga. Strangely enough, one of them is a minister of the religion, the other is a Christian young woman. There you go, people. Who told me she had left the church and got involved in yoga. Listen, lady, you should have at least stayed in church, not practice this. She says she has been in and out of mental institutions for 5 years and believes that practicing yoga was the cause of her mental state. I believe it. This young woman told me that she now believes that yoga is an inherently occult activity. Yeah, a lot of people have said that the House of Yahweh was part of a cult too, or it is a cult, practicing all kinds of devil worship and everything. Like I said, I haven't been there, okay? I have not been there yet. The minister told an almost similar story. This is from R.D. Moore, Yoga is Powerful. I'll say, excuse me. As mentioned earlier, mantras are secret words or short phrases which are supposed to invoke reception of ancient gods while protecting one from demons. In reality, they do the opposite of providing protection. They invite demons to take control of the mind. From page 204 of Death of a Guru explains that each mantra is said to embody a spirit or deity. The repetition of the mantra calls this being to the one repeating it. Thus, the mantra invites a particular spirit god to enter while at some time producing the passive state in the mind, so there can be a fusion of beings. I like a syncretism, huh? I like that. The repetition of the mantra causes being to the one repeating it. It's just like the repetition of the beads on the rosary, huh? I think the Buddhists also have prayer beads as well as the Muslims. Like I said, people, a lot of those religions are very much identical. Whether he be the student or graduate, the yogi must repeat the mantra over and over, eventually for hours on end. Just like the rosary. This induces, I know what I'm talking about because, excuse me, that is what the Hispanic Mexican culture, I don't know about the Latinos. I'm not Latino, I am Mexican. That is what the Catholics do in and around, even just here in my hometown, is that when somebody dies, I think after they buried you, they'll sit there and I mean, I think all the rosary. This is a similar practice. And a repetition of prayer is prohibited, especially the same prayers, I think, something like that. This induces a hypnotic state. Hypnotism is a definite part of yoga. More on this later. A mantra is thus a vehicle to deliver the mind to a spirit deity. We select only the suitable mantras of personal gods, says Maharishi, beacon light of the Himalayas. Or Himalayas. You gotta remember, people, a lot of the names of cities in this country like this may not be Himalaya, it might be Himalaya. It's just like Colorado. It's not Colorado, it's Colorado. It's not El Dorado, it's El Dorado. Come on, people, trying to tell me to speak English in my country, but y'all can't even pronounce those words correctly? I don't think so. Anyways, let's see. Many mantras usually begin with the words obeisance or all hail to welcome the deity. Examples include the Shiva mantra in Black Yajur Veda from page 139 and the Nichiren Buddhist mantra homage to the Lotus Sutra, etc. It is a curious fact that the Roman Catholic Hail Mary, there you go, see? Phrasing, which is repeated over and over on the rosary beads, is not unlike the Hindu mantras. There you go, people. Yes, I have read this before. I wasn't going over it. I give you my word. I wasn't going over it before I got the video, which are sometimes repeated as japa beads are counted. So-called 7 main chakras or energy centers called vortexes in some charismatic groups at different levels in the spine. Karma is a Hindu concept basic to yoga. Yoga or yoga is actually gallon, like a gallon of milk in Spanish. Un galón, or it's una yoga, but the yoga is actually the containment of it. Karma is a Hindu concept basic to yoga. It is said to be the accumulated good or bad deeds of the past, including countless previous lives. Only by practicing yoga, pranayama, can the karma be eliminated so the soul can fly off to nirvana. Wow. We hear people use this word every day. Oh, karma's going to come and get you. Like they even knew what that word meant, right? So people, in their own ignorance, repeat a lot of what they hear others hear. Probably they're famous celebrities. Mantras are special words, often a short phrase of 2 words, that a person is to repeat over and over to help the spirit power enter his body. However, it has had the effect of blanking out his brain, so the spirit can do things with it. More on this later. In the book, The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, we are told that yoga is derived from the Sanskrit root yog, Y-O-G, or yuj, Y-U-J, which means the same as the English word yoke. This is getting to a great point here. Remember that word, yoke. They mean binding two together. When one practices yoga, he is calling to the spirits to enter his body and mind and possess them. As the Divine Life Society words, words it. Yoga is the science that teaches us the method of uniting the individual soul with the supreme soul, of merging the individual will and the cosmic will. Yoga is restoring our lost link with Brahman, whom we refer to as God. So who are you worshiping, people? Your God or this guy or these people's gods? So you're getting involved into the worship of Hindu pagan deities, and you guys have no idea what it is, what the hell you're doing. Cuckoos. In its original purpose, yoga with its various postures and mantras is meant to be an act of worship of Hindu gods. Although westernized, the purpose has not changed. That's the thing, like I've been stating recently in the past videos, a lot of these practices are becoming even more modernized. You know, tomorrow per se, they may not be mentioning Hindu gods. You might be hearing something like, I don't know, I just can't come up with it. But I wouldn't doubt they change the names of all these chakras and all that kind of stuff. The yoga position is one of obeisance in the Hindu way of life, meant to salute the gods. From Gautam Chatterjee, the meaning of Hindu symbols. Like I said, people, I read this kind of stuff. I have a book there on C.G. Jung. It's a great book. It's always great to have this kind of knowledge. People come at you, say, hey, you know, what do you think about this? Don't do it. Don't do it. I told my sister when I come out of the feds, all the stuff I studied, she's like, I can see your way of thinking is different now. And now that I told her other things that I don't support, like I don't support gay people. I don't hate them. I don't hate the person. It's just like being instilled with the way our Father in heaven thinks. Our Father loves the sinner, hates the sin. Okay. I talk to people that are gay, but I mean, it's like we read, I think recently in one of the past videos or in Corinthians, that if we had to actually refrain ourselves from hanging out with these people, then we just have to leave the planet. But since I've known a bunch of them, I tell them, look, keep your distance, all right? Whatever you do is on you, but do not offer that stuff on me. I've gotten hit up on Facebook, I don't know how many times, by gay men dressed like women. I'm like, nope, blocked. You know what I mean? So it's the holidays. She also got upset because I don't really don't care for him. I don't give 3 cents for him. She's upset that I've changed my ways, but I told her, so this is my choice. I wasn't forced to believe what I do. So my belief does not force none of y'all to believe what I do. Okay. Continuing here. Anyways. The Jiva Metaphysics Center, an organization promoting Eastern religions, is quite frank about how yoga is used by spiritist mediums and channelists to go into trances. I wouldn't go to these people. The eightfold path of yoga is accepted practically by all spiritualists that resort to it in some form or other. It has been a valuable contribution to spiritualist mediums even in modern times. This is from the Jiva Metaphysics Center. George Feuerstein, German, huh? George Feuerstein, founder, president of the Yoga Research and Education Center, and translator of the latest version of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, declares that yoga is one of the leading New Age occult practices. Yeah, right along with Christmas and Easter and all these other pagan holidays. The asana is the yoga exercise or sitting posture, usually seated. This seated position, called the lotus position, with the legs crossed over the thighs, looks strange, and it very definitely is. But there is a purpose to it, a purpose which the peoples do not realize. Both the Hindu asanas and the Islamic salat, something I put a hole in it, salat something khalsa, seating postures which look the same, restricts the flow of blood to the legs and to the feet. This bottleneck in the circulatory system produces an increased pumping of blood into the brain and upper half of the body. There you go, people. Killing yourself. This, together with the peculiar yogic breathing techniques, pranayama, causes a hallucinogenic effect. And to this, a repetition of a word or phrase, a mantra, for a long period and a hypnotic stupor or trance occurs. The strange breathing control pranayama is supposed to increase the chi, which is the prana, which yogi gurus declare to be an occult spiritual energy. But that which results from the mind-empty trance is not spiritual energy, but strange effects by an invading spirit on the mind. Chi is the Chinese word for prana, or the Hindu word. So obviously we can see that even in other cultures, in other countries, a lot of pagan words have been instilled even into their language. Kind of crazy, huh? Praise Yahweh for this knowledge. When individuals try to follow these techniques, a spirit will give them mental and spiritual effects, which will convince them that yoga is accomplishing something. What is actually being accomplished is that while they flatter themselves that they are entering upon a higher level of existence, their minds are being quietly captured by demons. I don't think I'm going to finish this in an hour. We'll try. We'll get all of it anyways. The German government study. A major research study was made by the German government in the late 1980s. It resulted in government legislation, followed by an important Supreme Court ruling in full support of the enactment. This study, commissioned by the government's Ministry of Youth, Family and Health, focused primarily on transcendental meditation. It exposed the dangers inherent in all meditative practices of this kind. Yoga and related Eastern religious practices always include transcendental meditation in some form. This is because, as we will learn below, it is the special meditative techniques which include breath control and mindlessly repeating a mantra, which powerfully opens the mind to an invasion of demons. The study offers an overview of the teaching and practice of transcendental meditation. We'll just call it TM. Based on the movement's own presentation of itself and its aims, please understand that we are not here discussing thinking or normal Christian meditation, which consists of reading God's inspired writings and prayerfully thinking about what one reads. There you go. Study of scripture per se has nothing to do with none of this stuff here. It actually teaches against this kind of stuff. Hindu, Buddhist meditative techniques, which form a basic part of yoga, are quite different. The trainee is carefully instructed to sit cross-legged, stare at a point between his feet or a candlestick in front of him, and focus on trying to empty his mind while mindlessly repeating a word or a two-word phrase over and over for 1 to 4 hours or more. They might as well just waterlog this guy, huh? Conclusions of the research study. The following excerpts are from TMEX newsletter from fall of 1990 through summer of 1992, and summarize the conclusions of the German research study. Quote, this is a long quote. Meditation with the help of a mantra is required word or phrase audibly repeated over and over is a common method and one in great demand in Hinduism. This is because of the belief in the magical power of certain sounds or words, by the use of which the gods can enter the initiated, and they can attain godly powers. We already have godly powers if we're living a life of sin, right? Although it is said in the TM movement that the mantra is a sound without meaning, the belief in the magical power of the mantra is still there. The mantra, may not be exchanged and has to be a certain one chosen from Hinduism. It has a traditional meaning, often the name of a certain god. I'm gonna have to restudy that little paragraph on my own. In order to make it appear scientific, Maharishi deliberately mechanized and standardized his meditation procedure, making it more attractive to the Westerner, more modernized, huh? The technical path to God realization, he calls it in public. It is often called self-realization. You will recall that we earlier mentioned that it was Patanjali Maharishi who systematized Raja Yoga, a method of a simplified structure of mindless meditation, which he formulated into Ashtanga Yoga. Tanga? Belief in the effectiveness of TM is maintained even when negative experiences result. These are interpreted as an ongoing release of stress. Far-reaching changes in the perception of reality occur, as well as changes in self-evaluation and evaluation by others. The length of time given for meditation each day is increased in half of the total cases, from 40 minutes to at least 2 to 4 hours or more daily. This tendency is encouraged in courses, and at times the trainee is instructed to meditate longer each day. TM has a detrimental effect on the decision-making process. There is a loss of self-determination and a turning toward the TM authorities for guidance. That is, or i.e., in the case of important decisions. Facial expression, bodily posture, voice, and handwriting all point to the fact that the total personality is gravely altered under the influence of TM. Not necessarily so. I used to be able to write like this. Now I write like that because I got arthritis, I guess. I used to work out at a ranch, not this recent ranch, but working out at a dig site for an oil company, and they just really ruined my hand. So yeah, that's got nothing to do with this, but I know my handwriting is all right. Before the TM phase performance began, performance at school was generally well above average, and those investigated were most happy with their school or job situation. But a considerable worsening, in all these areas occurred as a result of the practice of transcendental meditation. Here are some points. 56% had decreased concentration abilities during the TM phase. Only 16% reported an improvement. If we're living a spiritual life, and like Paul says, that I did not want to do, I did. So he fell into sin. We fall into sin if we live in a life of righteousness. Okay. So we lose all focus on living a spiritual life. Okay. 61% found it more difficult to manage the workload, as against 13% who reported an increased capacity. TM had a negative influence on the professional careers of 58% of meditators. Altogether, 42% of meditators gave up the professional career in order to work full-time for the TM movement or to be able to take long TM courses of instruction. They did this because they have been promised that they will eventually have supernatural powers if they continue on and on with the meditations. Yeah, okay. Next thing you know, you're going to be seeing people flying around in carpets, huh? Excuse me. An analysis of the tape interviews and the stenographer scripts only serves to strengthen the suspicion that the TM organization aims to cheap labor. In the case of those people who eventually became unfit to work, they were sent away. In 76% of the cases, psychological disorders and illnesses occurred. 43% had psychiatric treatment or had to have medical treatment during the TM phase. The psychological disorders most prevalent were tiredness, 63%, states anxiety, 52%, depression, 45%, nervousness, 39%, and regression to a more childish, dependent personality unable to make decisions for themselves, 39%. 26% had a nervous breakdown, and 20% expressed serious suicidal tendencies. Ooh. TM can cause mental illness, or at the very least prepare the way for the onset of mental illness. The ruling of the highest federal administrative tribunal, the Bundesverwaltungsgericht, was made on May 24, 1989. The case was number 7-C-2.87. I don't know if you can see this, but that is one hard word to pronounce. It's right there on the fold. I believe it starts right there. That is one long word, huh? Crazy, crazy, crazy. You see, people, the dangers that this stuff brings? Cuckoos. You turn into, if you're already crazy and you go into this stuff, you're going to become a potato. It's crazy. These were the shocking findings of the German government youth department Ministry of Youth, Family, and Health, which after careful review were approved by the Supreme Court of the nation. The story of the two gurus. I'm going to finish this. I got about 15 minutes, but I'm going to finish all of it. After years of misery, Rabindranath Maharaj wrote a book, Death of a Guru, in which he told about his fathers and his experiences in yoga. He first described how his father, by practicing yoga for years, finally attained a lofty spiritual state in which he had to be fed, washed, and cleansed for 8 years by others. He was worshipped by the people as an avatar. And we see that on Facebook and on Bitmojis. Just a reincarnation of one of the gods. That is because during those years, his father sat in a lotus position with legs crossed and feet overlapping his thighs. Never moving day or night, never speaking to others, but chanting OM. If I remember Smoking the Bandit when he goes, that is a word, OM. Okay, and what I mean by that OM is this. Oh, it's backwards. But just so I can read it, it's another pagan name or a pagan word or a pagan god. OM. Smoking the Bandit when it goes beep, 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 he goes. Love those movies. Classics. Let's see. Over and over and over. When Rabindranath, we'll just use his name Rabin here. When Rabin's father finally died at the age of 54, both Hindu spiritual leaders and common people in the nation, Trinidad, declared that he had finally reached the highest attainment a yogi could make and had passed into nirvana, having escaped. Buddhists, like Hindus, practice yoga and its chants repeating mantras over and over as the basis of the religious experience. Satan and the ancient religions. The prince of the demons is Satan, or the god of gods, originally called Lucifer. Two of the forms by which she is known, the sun god and the serpent god, are frequently invoked by mantras as the god who is invited into the mind. And we can do this through sin. First, Lucifer, the phrase means light bearer, considers herself the sun god. Paul warned that Satan, another name for Lucifer, was able to transform herself into an angel of light, according to 2 Corinthians 11, 14 and 15. That's right here. The primary and most sacred mantra is OM or AUM, and it is a call to the sun god. This mantra, AUM, that's another word, is dedicated to the Lord Savitur. The Savitur represents the Lord Sun. Savitur, the Lord of Gayatri, is nothing more than the light of consciousness, the infinite, the absolute. This mantra, as it stands, obviously invokes Lord Sun and pleads to him to illumine in us. This is from Meditation and Life, pages 148 and 156. Professor Ernest Wood confirms this hidden meaning of OM as invoking the sun god. We meditate on the most excellent glory of that divine sun. May it direct our understanding. Ernest Wood Yoga, page 195. Even without the use of mantras, yoga is meant to unite the practitioner to the Lord Sun. Yoga can be traced back to the Rig Veda itself, the oldest Hindu text, which speaks about yoking our mind and insight to the Sun of Truth. David Frawley, Inner Meaning of Yoga. Yoking, combining, right? This is what the Egyptians were doing. This is what Constantine did when he combined two gods together, Jesus and Krishna. Of course, and that language is called theocracia. I don't know what it's in the Egyptian, but that's the Greek word for the combining of two gods. You starting to see patterns here, people? That's why we're told, come out of her, my people, so that you do not partake of the same sins, of her sins. In a small book called The Illuminati, which means the sun illumine ones, Illuminati everywhere. There's no such thing as a secret group of the Illuminati. I've gotten hit up by them supposedly on Instagram all the time. And that's because one guy told me, well, we're supposed to remain a secret group. Yeah, okay. You guys are everywhere. Christians, Catholics, any Christian group, church, whatever, that practices the same customs as Catholics, you're all Illuminati people. You're all sun worshippers. Why? Because you go to church, you go to a pagan temple named after a pagan goddess named Church to worship the pagan sun god. The sun god who resurrected on Sunday, right? On the day of the sun. When y'all celebrate Easter, it's on Sunday. Think, people. The names of the sun gods of various pagan religions are said to add up to 666. It also says that all the avatars or incarnations of these gods were called Buddhas or Rasis of the Siun, or the sun. S-I-U-N. I recently watched a movie called Remo Williams that stars the late Fred Ward. May he rest in peace. One of my favorite actors. I seen him yesterday in the movie Tremors 1 and 2. In the movie, and I'm sure y'all missed this, in the movie Remo Williams, he's given an avatar. He's given a new identity. And he trains very badassy, right? He trains under this supposed Korean guy. It's actually an American actor if you look it up. He trains under this Korean guy called Chun. Chun is in fact a pagan sun god, Chiun. He even said that Chinanju, that what he was studying was the sun, or something like that. Watch for those. I just picked it up the other day. It's crazy. See, people, like I told you a while back on my other videos about Superman and Wonder Woman, those are all mythological creatures, creations, gods. Like I told you about the name Superman, his real name is Kal-El, which in Hebrew means the voice of God. And you have the incarnation of the Son, the Father into the Son, and the Son becomes the Father. See, people, praise Yahweh for his knowledge, man. It's crazy, people. All these things are out there. People don't just make movies out of the blue. I mean, you can, but it probably won't hit anyways. Okay, a lot of these movies are based on mythological figures and whatever else. Second, down through the ages, ever since the Garden of Eden, Satan has identified herself with serpents, snakes, or dragons. He has been worshipped since antiquity in India as the serpent king, and the cobra is her representative. Indian fakirs play the flute as the snake weaves back and forth. Carvings and pictures of serpents are found on and in temples of India, China, Japan, and Southern Asia. Even the word Japan means something, or I think it means setting sun, something like that. And Southern Asia. Look at the flags of Japan. It's a sun. Ding, 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 ding. And Southern Asia, large ones are called dragons and frequently have wings. Ancient legends have said that the serpent had legs before it was told that it must henceforth crawl in the dust. And this is from, I read that in other books, and here's mentioned Patriarchs and Prophets by either Ellen G. White or Vance Farrell, one of those. Ananta is the Hindu word for the serpent king, or Lucifer. Bhujangasana is the name of the serpent position of the human body. Even the name Cancun, down there in South America, means nest of snakes, nido de víboras. Culiacan, I watch Mexican soap operas with my mom, and the name Culiacan means the genuine Aztec name of the Nahuatl language in Culhuacan or Culhuacan, which form Colhua or Culhua, and Can, which is a place, and its meaning varies according to different historians. Snake Place or Crooked Hill. Here you go, people. And a lot of this stuff I learned through the House of Yahweh with Mr. Hawkins. Oh no, but he's a false prophet. Ask me, people, or tell me in the comment section below who else will teach you these kind of things. Probably nobody. Because like it says here, they've already instilled all these things to your subconscious. You probably can't tell the difference between Yahweh and God, huh? It is what it is, people. It works the same way with all these false doctrines being set forth to you. A lot of these religions are into serpent worship and have no idea what it is they're doing. So next time you talk about somebody, at least first ask, hey, well, what are they studying? Let me find out first what it is they're studying. Okay? Like I said, it's real easy for us to move our mouths against somebody, but if you don't go out and find out first, you're never gonna know. Okay, y'all see how I can put this stuff to other references, to the scriptures. Hey, it is what it is, people, and I praise my Father in heaven for teaching me these things. And the more I study, like some of y'all say, well, the more you study, the less you know. I don't know. The more I study, the more knowledge I gain. I tell myself. The serpent, and even the Mormons have that Quetzalcoatl serpent worship as well. What was I going to say? Even the word Vatican, it ends with CAN, like Cancun and Culiacan and America. America was actually Amaruca, which meant the feathered serpent. Do some research, people, before we start moving our mouths against somebody. The serpent and the sun have also been worshipped all over the world, including Africa and North, Central, and South America. People worship the sun god here every Sunday, right? Along with the sun as the great fire god, and in due time identified with him, the serpent was worshipped. In the mythology of the primitive world, says Owen, the serpent is universally the symbol of the sun. In Egypt, one of the commonest symbols of the sun or sun god is a disc with a serpent around it. The original reason of that identification seems just to have been that as the sun was the great enlightener of the physical world, so the serpent was held to have been the great enlightener of the unspiritual. It says spiritual here, but we can see two spirits at work, like I've covered in the past couple of videos, by giving mankind the knowledge of righteousness and evil. There you go. See, even this guy is saying it. It is a mixture, in other words. By giving mankind the knowledge of what it says here of good and evil. So this is a mixture, people, of what is supposed to be right and evil. This is exactly the tree of which Eve partook of, then given to her husband, right? Wow. The ancient Mayans of the Yucatan in Mexico worshipped the serpent god under the name of Can, C-A-N. But check this out. C-A-N. I've made mention a few times over my videos that word usage is critical, all this kind of stuff. C-A-N, American, Vatican, Cancun, Culiacan, and all these other names and words that end or begin with the prefix. In the Hebrew, we have Khan as well, but K-H-A-N, which in its origin is Kohan or Kahan, meaning a priest. See that? Y'all missed that one, huh? Oh no, but Mr. Hawkins is a false prophet. That guy, man, that guy. I would have met him before he's now asleep in the earth, like it says. He's not dead. We all go to sleep in the earth. I would have loved to have met that guy. I said, Mr. Hawkins, man, thank you for your most awesomeness teachings. Can means serpent in the Mayan language. Vatican means divining serpent. And Can or Akan was the ancient Sumerian and ancient Scottish word for serpent. Here we find the origin of our word canny, shrewd, or serpent-like the uncanny X-Men, huh? The Babylonians worship Kan, the serpent, and Vul, the god of fire. And you put those words together by this theocracia, Vulcan, god of fire, right? Like volcano, that's where it comes from. The Romans simply combined the two words, there you go, combining the two words, being yogis, into Vulcan, the Roman god of fire, from which also comes our word volcano. That's probably where I got it from. This seems to be how the Mayans and the Mexicans named their gods. They also combined the two words to describe their serpent god. And here we go for all you Mormons out there, Kulkul, K-U-L, K-U-L. Kulkul means beautiful bird. And Can, C-A-N, meant serpent. Excuse me. Hence, Kulkulkan means bird serpent in the Mayan language. Bird serpent, yeah, serpent, bird serpent. This is exactly the same meaning for Quetzalcoatl or Quetzalcoatl. I think it's pronounced better Quetzalcoatl, the Mexican pagan messiah in central Mexico. This is who the Mormons worship. This is from Hislop, the Two Babylons, 227. Also see Nicholson, Mexican and Central American mythology. The symbol for Quetzalcoatl is a feathered serpent. Even more strange is the origin of the word Vatican. Man, I already had this highlighted from when I first got it. I already knew some of this stuff through the House of Yahweh. The symbol for Quetzalcoatl is a feathered serpent. Even more strange is the origin of the word Vatican. It comes from the Latin words Vatic or Vatis. I'm already at an hour. Cool. Which means prophet or soothsayer. See any unabridged dictionary. Vaticinate is more common word and means to prophesy. The combined word Vati and Can, Vatican, means divination by the serpent, or the divining or predicting serpent. The main symbol for astrology in pagan art was often a serpent in a circular position with its tail and its mouth. Y'all seen Mortal Kombat? Y'all see that circle with a dragon inside? Pagan stuff. Great movies, but pagan stuff. This represented eternal life. And there's also just their own imaginations, creations of mythological figures, I guess. It was the serpent Satan who claimed to have the knowledge of good and evil. Well, she does have that knowledge, right? Because she told Adam and Eve, if you're not gonna die, for Yahweh knows that when you partake of that tree of righteousness and evil, then you will be in the image of the gods. And that's exactly what came to Adam and Eve. They were in Yahweh's image, and when they sinned, they were now in the image of those gods. And for you new viewers, it was the children of those sons of the gods that had sex with women, not fallen angels. Stop believing in that. Lucifer was cast out of heaven with her angels. Ancient Hindu texts, including the Ramayana and Dronaparva, speak of a heavenly chariot bringing Sanat Kumara to the earth thousands of years ago, together with his companions. According to the Hindu texts, their purpose was to awaken the inner intelligence of man. Oh man, those cats sound freaky. I mean, yeah, this is what pretty much Satan has done, is to bring yourself by telling us, if we're living a life of righteousness, like Adam and Eve were, and so here comes Satan and brings us down from that position, then yeah, we are now been awakened, like the way Adam and Eve were. They were awakened to their sin. Their eyes were opened, right? But this is the exact opposite. Satan is awakening us from being in Yahweh's image to being like her in the image of the gods. Satan, speaking through the serpent in the Garden of Eden, promised to give the knowledge of good and evil to Adam and Eve. That sounds terrible. Y'all ever see Stand By Me? With River Phoenix, when he was a young guy, Corey Feldman, can't remember the other kid's name, and Will Wheaton, I think they were out camping in the middle of the night. They heard the howling of a coyote or whatever, and Corey Feldman told Vern, the little fat kid, that it was a crying woman. Yeah, I would get scared if I heard something like that out in the woods, especially down here. Well, down here in Texas, South Texas, we're by the border. We hear a lot of coyotes like that, but nothing major like that. Like I said, I never seen or heard stuff like that. On page 77 of her book, The Hidden Dangers of the Rainbow, Constance Cumby says that Sanat Kumara is the Hindu name for Lucifer. The New Age book, Conscience, Immortality, page 146, says that Sanat Kumara works through all the New Age gurus in the world. There is no, I guess what they're trying to do now, like I said, make it more modern, is connect all these practices together. The New Age book, Conscience Immortality, page 146, says that Sanat Kumara works through all the New Age gurus in the world. There is no difference between them and him. According to that, all the gurus, practitioners of Reiki, Feng Shui, isn't that the how to like organize? Oh, that's fun, Shui or whatever. Sounds like that. Feng Shui, yoga, and other new therapies are directly energized by Sanat Kumara, which represents Satan. I thought that Feng Shui, it might be Feng Shui, and teaches you how to organize your house, make more space with whatever you got. So I guess it's not the same thing. Sounds pretty much identical, but I don't think that's practicing any pagan practices. But both yoga and hypnosis are hypnotic procedures to empty the mind and insert images, commands, beliefs, and instructions into it. The objective of both is for someone to take command of the mind, a trance-like state, or altered consciousness. It's achieved. From William Kroger, Clinical and Experimental Hypnosis, 1977, page 122 and 123, it says, for centuries, Zen, Buddhists, Tibetan, and yogic methods have used a system of meditation and altered state of consciousness similar to hypnosis. You know what I'm thinking? It's, and just my experience, okay? This is how I believe our government trains the FBI, the CIA, the DEA, the police. I believe they use these methods to put stuff into your head. For example, when I got busted, that I was taken into the Border Patrol immigration office, the first thing that they put in my head was, we know what you're doing. And I was just kind of like, I think I said in one of my last videos, I said, this guy just told me he was at home sleeping. Now he knows what I was doing. They do these things to instill things into your head to take control over you. So what they do is they put fear in you, so now they can control you. So these methods, I'm assuming, have to do with something like this. Okay. Let's see. A spiritualist, medium, and a channeler use the same techniques to make contact with the spirit world. These methods are about the same as those used in yoga and hypnosis. Shamans do this also. The only difference is that they call it looking inward. Excuse me. Which they do by entering a trance. Then a spirit pretends to give them information about a person's future or to provide physical healing. Witch doctors, Sufi practitioners, shamans, Hindus, Buddhists, and yogis practice hypnosis. This is from Martin and Deirdre, Bogan Hypnosis and the Christian page 13. Mesmerism, which is hypnotism and hypnosis. Spiritualism, witchcraft, all belong to one family, all have a common root and are developed by the same laws. There you go. This is from Alan Putnam, Mesmerism, Spiritualism, Witchcraft, and Miracle, page 6. Two experts in the field tells us. But here's the thing. This just popped into my head. This is kind of like what we read in Timothy about how people are that people will gather teachers for themselves so they can tell them things that their itching ears want to hear. Okay? Like I stated in the last video, the one before it, if I go to a church and that preacher is not pissing me off or upsetting me with the word, he's got to be a false prophet. I am now so used to hearing that my sins will lead me to death because that is what the word says. Okay? We cannot be people, a servant of two masters, pretending to be a good Christian while we're practicing pagan traditions. Okay? So it's either one or the other, people. You can't be going to church every Sunday and then every Wednesday of the week go and practice yogi. Come on, man. Y'all don't even know what it is you're doing. You have no control over your own mind. Oh, let's see. Two experts in this field tells us that the reader should not be confused by the supposed differences between hypnosis, Zen yoga, and other Eastern healing methodologies. Although the ritual for each differs, they are fundamentally the same. There you go. This is from William Krugler and William Fassler, Hypnosis and Behavior Modification, Imagery, Conditioning, page 1976, page 412. Franz Anton Mesmer. This guy lived from 1734 to 1815. A Viennese physician, was the originator of modern-day hypnotism in Europe. He later confessed that hypnotism, back then called mesmerism after his name, mesmerism, after his name, was of occult force and origin. Pretty much anything that doesn't have to do with the scriptures is pretty much pagan. Mesmer said that the power came from a universal energy. Universal. Y'all know what that word means? I need to get a haircut. Universal energy. The name Catholic in Greek means universal. So this could mean from any and or all gods, right? That's what the Catholic Church practices. Few people would see a hypnotherapist if they knew that they were being mesmerized by the techniques of the ancient witch doctors. Both yoga and hypnotism produce negative results. That is how the DEA, CIA, FBI talk to people. They do their hardest to instill this fear in you by their own methods, by telling you they know what they're doing. And we saw you, and we saw you doing this, but they ask you all these things first, right? I'm giving y'all some free knowledge here. They ask you what you were doing prior to, picking up either, drugs or illegals or whatever, and they make a report of that. And when you read it, if you don't know what they're doing, oh man, they saw me since yesterday. So now they have control over you. Now they can tell you, you see, we saw you, bro. We know what you were doing before you picked up all these drugs. That's how they get to you. That's exactly how they get to you. Bunch of corrupt people, if you ask me. I will never work for this government. Never. I will never be a cop. I will never be a borpo. I'm probably too old anyways, but I will never wear a badge in this country. Never. And for those of you who do, that's on you. I'm not asking you for your forgiveness, nor am I apologizing. But if you're a cop and you're watching this, or if you wear a badge in this country, this is exactly what you do to other people. You're not necessarily lying, but neither did Lucifer to Eve when she told her that she wasn't going to die if she partook of that tree of righteousness and evil, right? This is exactly what they do, people. You have picked up on the customs of Lucifer herself. Praise Yahweh. Let's see. Hypnotherapy caused one patient to suffer severe hallucinations. Wow. Dr. Bruce Goldberg, a psychologist, in his book New Age Hypnosis, claims that hypnosis is able to help you view your past and future lives, contact departed loved ones, and heighten your psychic awareness. Goldberg is no novice. He received his doctoral training in 1975. He is a member of the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis and former president of both the Los Angeles Academy of Clinical Hypnosis and the Mid-Atlantic Hypnotist Examining Council. Yet he promotes psychic activities, belief in reincarnation, contacting the dead, and so on. What a weirdo. This guy would come to my door and say, "Who are you?" Chispale, kick rocks, get out of here, bruh. Get out of here, bruh. There is also a sexual aspect to yoga called tantric yoga. But it will not be discussed in this report. It is very evil. Mention will only be made that yoga teaches that sexual activity, even to excess, helps eliminate karma. So the yogi can more quickly escape to nirvana. Such a teaching, of course, leads to very vile conduct. Effect, this is the last section. Effect on the yoga cultures. The objective of Buddhism and Hinduism is to destroy personality and all the special characteristics which make us human. This includes compassion and care for people. In those Buddhist and Hindu cultures not influenced by the Western Judeo-Christian world, there is no interest in building hospitals, schools, or orphanages. There is no basis for morality. There is also no science or technology. In Hinduism, the physical material world is viewed as an illusion, Maya. The religious leaders, a Hindu swamp or Buddhist monk in India or Southeast Asia, do nothing for people, but just beg for food while renouncing the world. Human life is not valued. Only the Bible and the Messiah, or Christ, can solve the problems of mankind. The invasion of Eastern religions into the West has the effect of tearing down the moral fabric of society. But the majority of this country doesn't have any morale. Okay, it's a sad fact, baby. But y'all know what I'm talking about is the truth. We find killings and shootings and rapes and everything all over this country. Even that guy that came from Britain or England, asked Ted Cruz, why does this only happen in your country? Ted Cruz got upset because he has no knowledge of anything. All he knows, all those people know is just politics, and that's it. That's all those people know. This government, people, cannot teach us morale, character, or value. Anything that has got to do with this kind of stuff, oh yeah, it's okay. Yeah, do whatever you want. Let's see. The religious leaders, a Hindu Swami or Buddhist monk in India or Southeast Asia, do nothing for people, but just beg for food while renouncing the world. Human life is not valued. Welcome to America. The invasion of Eastern religions into the West has the effect of tearing down the moral fabric of society. Okay, I already read this. It stifles the conscience and every sense of right and wrong and leads to pleasure seeking and crime. It leads to pleasure seeking and crime. Warn everyone who is thinking of dabbling in this dangerous practice. Yoga may be presented as something very attractive and inviting, but as we have discovered, at the very least, it will weaken your willing power and personality. If you continue it long enough, it will ruin your life. Here you go, people. Before you do something, look into it. Before you talk bad about somebody teaching you these things, look into it. I'm here at home. I believe through my studies that I have received these spiritual gifts to put these things together or to set them aside and put differences the way we're supposed to. It says in the book of Leviticus. Okay. You start seeking, you seek the spirits, test the spirits. Hey, I am a Bible follower. If you don't ever read your Bible and say you do, there's no way you can put differences to begin with. Okay? Anything that is not of the truth is a lie, right? Okay, so next time you're going to go do some kind of practice, look into it. Hey, what am I getting myself into? Like I said in the last video, when you're going to go buy a house, you're going to do some research. When you're going to go buy a car, you might want to do some research. Okay? Do it with everything you're going to put your feet into, people. Your hands, especially your hard-earned money. Oh, I finally saved money. I was able to raise 50 grand. Now I want to put a down payment on a house. Look into it first. Have that person take you over there, right? Go look at the yard. Go see in what neighborhood it's in. Ask the guy, hey, is this no neighborhood today is safe. Sad to say. Even if you live in a fenced-in, whatever they call it, I don't think it's safe, regardless. But do some research, people. Before we talk bad about prophets, like I've done my research on Herbert Armstrong, Ellen G. White, so I can say, yes, they're right here. No, they're wrong right here. I can do that. Okay? I know some of y'all might say, well, it doesn't matter, only if you study 15 years as the Holy Spirit. Well, because it might be against what you've been studying does not mean it's automatically wrong. Okay? But at least, like I've shown you on one of my last videos, I have all my research here. And the continuing study of Scripture is my guide and says yes here or says no here. Okay? But if you proclaim yourself to be a Christian, somebody who follows the Bible, do the research. Key words and phrases, people, are very critical in our Bibles as well as stuff like this. Okay? God worship is everywhere, as prophecy said it would be. Okay, the scattered tribes of Israel, have been scattered throughout the world because of God worship, because of all the confusion all the bad things that came out of it. Okay. And all the things that y'all have missed in the Bible can only be brought forth to people through the house of Yahweh. They do all the work for you. But a lot of these things also have to be revealed to you in scripture. Like I told you about Aaron only making a golden bull. He didn't make a monkey or a cat or a dog. He made a bull for a particular reason. Okay. But a lot of y'all have missed, first of all, have not even studied their studies to say, oh, no, Mr. Hawkins is a false prophet. People, next time, grab your Bible and start reading it. Okay. Look at the origins of Christmas. Worthless customs, like it says in the book of Jeremiah. Easter, pagan goddess. Valentine's, fake story. Saint Valentine's was no saint. A saint is one who keeps Yahweh's laws and commandments, as it says in the Bible. All these images of Saint Jude and Jesus and Mary, those are all worthless things. They can't cure your illnesses, because if they did, nobody would be sick in this world. Okay, so again, people, that is the second section of this article. Hope y'all like it. I did. I got a lot more out of it now that I read it with y'all here. This is the first time as well, this video and the one before this one, that I sat down and since I've been out of the feds, and I have gotten a lot more out of it now because of all my studies. Okay, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh man, I'm going to go practice yoga. Some of y'all might say, well, Oli, I'm going to be a butthead and I'm going to go practice yoga anyways, but I'm not going to mention none of those words. Hey, that's what a lot of people do. That's what a lot of people do. It's just like saying, well, I'm not going to practice. I'm not going to put my heart in Christmas or in Easter. I'm just going to, partake of it. But anyways, people, hope y'all like it. Y'all have a great day. The comment section is open. Leave your questions and comments. Feel free to like and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a great day.